ilikuwa assented to 6 July 2022 na ilianza kazi 26 July 2022, just 2 weeks after kusainiwa, na ilipewa grace period ya 1 year. So by July 2023 groups zote zilikuwa zinafaa kuwa zimecomply, lakini kumekuwa na changamoto. Wala wase SDO wenye wanafaa kufanya hii bill, hii act operate, only 10% of them have been trained by the government. You wako around 555. The government managed to train only 50. So inamaanisha si nyinyi peke yenu hamjui bill, hata wenye wanafaa kuimplement wengi hawajui. Ya pili, gava ilikuwa inafaa kutrain all groups on this new act, lakini sijui kama kuna group hapa imetrainiwa na gava so far. So gava ni kama wanangoja kutumia hii kama kiboko, na already kuna groups washaanza kupewa warning. Na the same government. Kuna parts of this act yenye sisi kama social justice na other partners tunataka kupeleka kotini because ni unconstitutional. Na tukidiscuss tutaangalia parts zile sisi tunafeel haziko within the law ama hazitufurahishi kama community groups. Na pia tutakubali maoni because nataka hii kwa interaction. So kwa every act kuna kuangana kitu inaitwa interpretation. I hope kuna mahali after this tunaweza share hii act wasawa waende kudiscuss further kwa groups zenyu, si ndio? Juu hii upende usipende uko under hii act na inaweza tumika against wewe. Sawa? So kuna interpretation, kitu first ni amalgamation. Gava amesema means arrangement where 2 or more community groups unite to form a community-based organization but retaining their respective individual identity. Hapa nimeona target social justice. At that neza register working group, lakini through Kasarani, Kayole, Dandora, lakini u retain certificate yako. Then cabinet secretary means the cabinet secretary responsible for matters relating to social development. Hiyo ni nani? Waigava ni Aisha Juma. Aisha Juma ndio yuko in charge hapa. Civil society organizations means organizations that provide technical and advocacy support to the communities but do not provide funding. So tunashindwa mbona hawataki civil society wa provide funding kwa groups. Hapa si ni blanda. Ati KHRC wanaweza provide to technical na kuja vijana wabonga na nyinyi hivi, lakini ikifika kwa funding hawaezi. Hiyo pia ni one of the areas yenye tuko comfortable nayo because it makes sense. Community means persons, residents in the same geographic locality or who are considered as a unit because of their shared common interests. Community development means a process where community takes collective action and generates solutions to common problems. Community group means a voluntary association of individuals from the same community which is self-organized for a common purpose aimed at improving the livelihood of the group members or for a community benefit and include a special interest group, community project, community-based organization, but shall not include a public benefit organization, non-governmental organizations, or groups formed to champion a political cause or contrary to public policy. Even though I describe community group, sijui kwa nini anakata mambo ya political cause, because everything right now is very political. Ndio? Yeah. Politics decide what comes to your table. Ni politicians wata decide, politics ita decide kama unga itakuwa cheap ama itakuwa expensive, ndio? Lakini kwa organizing na hawataki mambo ya politics. So it's very funny. Alafu badala kusema contrary to the constitution ni contrary to public policy. public policy ni nini. So hiyo pia tuko na tashwish. Community group constitution means a basic rules or bylaws set by a community group to govern the operations of their group or any project that the group may undertake. Director means the director for social development appointed under section 3. Merger means the arrangement where 2 or more community groups dissolve in order to unite into a single community group, and the dissolved groups lose their individual identity. So mnaweza amua kumerge groups kwa group moja, then hizo groups zingine zina lose certificate na identity zao. Non-governmental organization has the meaning assigned to it under NGO Act number 19 of 1990. Na sasa kuna PBO Act of 2013, bado wanataka kutumia ile ya kitambo ya 1990. So hii act ni number 30 of 2022. So kwa office bearer means a person elected or appointed by a community group in accordance with the community group's constitution to be responsible for the management of the community group for the specified period, and include persons designated as the chairperson, secretary, treasurer or any other position as established by its constitution. Hapa pia wanajaribu kutuambia group lazima ikuwe na chairperson. Sisi hiyo kwa movement tulikataa. Juu ile syndrome imekuwa ya kwanza machairman. Machairman wametusumbua. Unakumbuka machairman wa KANU? Chairman wa KANU alikuwa anaweza kuja kwa duka yako na achukue maziwa na mkate na akose kulipa. So si tulikatanga hizo, tulizita colonial office bearers. Ndio si tunakuanga na convener, coordinator, at least one amongst equal. Sawa. Lakini ukiwa chairman mazo usinichukie. Lakini zile tabia za udictator pia muache. Si tulikuwa na mwingine ati meeting kama hii ikiisha lazima yeye asimame kwanza. Why are you standing and the chairman is sitting? You know. So tulikatanga hizo matitle. Then kuna public benefits organization has the meaning assigned to it under the PBO Act number 18 of 2013. Hii PBO Act ijaikuwa operationalized since 2013. Ilisainiwa na Kibaki mpaka saa hii ijaianza job. Social development means the growth of the capabilities that and choices of the individual groups, people and the institution. Social development officer, a person appointed by the ministry as a social development officer. Special interest community groups, community group declared by the director to be a special interest community groups under section 11. Yani huwezi kwa special interest group kama director hajakuambia. So hata nyinyi mkiwa say maybe people living with disability, nyinyi isi special group. Mpaka director aseme sasa nyinyi special. Ndio mkuwe special. Nashindwa kwani si hatujitambui. Si unajua tu kuna na hiyo unajua ni limitation so that they can limit. Siku hizi kuna wase wanajiconsider special. Maybe wanatoka kwa community kama Suba community. Suba community wamebaki wachache sana. Wengine walikuwa Wajaluo kwa sababu ya kwa. So hao wamebaki, hao si ni special group. Lakini hawezi jita special group until gava iseme. So hizo pia ni limitations. Tuende kwa part 2 ni administration. Director of Social Development. Huyu jamaa ni powerful sana. Huyu jamaa tutatii. There shall be a director of social development which shall be an office in the public service. The director shall be responsible for A, mobilizing community to form groups to undertake community projects. Saizi jamaa atakuwa na kama anaambia ni aje simform group. Amepewa hiyo role na mimi nadhani community ndio inafaa wanajaribu kukill hiyo self organizing ya community. Lakini sisi we don't need someone to tell us to organize. We organize kwa sababu ya material condition, tunaorganize kwa sababu ya situation yenye sisi tuna feel, si ndio? Atakuwa in charge of responsible for registration of community groups. So community groups zote ni yeye ata register. C, supervision. Sasa tuko na supervisor. Monitoring and evaluation of community projects by community groups. On the request of an interested party, the investigation of community groups activities. Hii nao tuko na shida nayo sana. Kwanza sisi hatuhitaji supervisor. Self organizing hitaji hitaji msa kuja supervise wenye unaorganize. Si ni uchokozi. Alafu ati interested party msa anaweza wa request ebu investigate Kasarani Social Justice Center na wata investigate. Yo ni one of the article part tunapeleka kotini kwa sababu hiyo inamaanisha msa anaweza andika barua Social Justice Center ziko investigated without any reason, because hii kitu inaitwa interested party ni very interesting. Na uko pale hawajai define ni interested party ni msemo gani. Hii inamaanisha MCA kama MCA mtu powerful wanaweza tumia hii article kudissolve groups nyingi sana. So hii ni article part moja tuna pinga zaidi. The establishment and maintenance of community development management information system. Sasa ni watakuwa na manage data ya community groups. Establishment of capacity building and training programs for community groups. Na wajaanza kutrain. Enhancing partnership, collaborations and linkages with other persons, groups or organizations to the benefit of the community. So hao ndio anajua venye community na benefit na watawa link nini. Hiyo pia ni kukill self organizing. Overseeing the operations of social development committees, approving, monitoring and evaluating the budget proposals provided by social development committees, and performing such other function as may be assigned by the cabinet secretary. So, who director will be a very powerful person. Akikuwa appointed. Ni hata decide whether group zenyu itakuwa registered ama itakuwa registered. Then, county coordinator of social development. The director shall appoint a county coordinator of social development for each county. The county coordinator of social development shall be responsible for the performance of the director's functions in the county. So, hizo roles zake kwa county kutakuwa na county coordinator ambao sasa yeye atakuwa na register on behalf of the director. So, ukiwa na swali unaweza raise to at any point. Kwa sawa? Then kuna, despite the generality of subsection 2, the county coordinator of social development shall be responsible for A, the establishment and supervision of social development committees in the county. B, the nomination of representatives of civil society organizations and social development partners to social development committees. And C, A, performance of any other function as may be assigned by the director. Tuko na shida na mbona huyo director nominate representative wa civil society kwa hiyo committee. Yet civil society na community group pia wanaweza jipanga wa nominate someone they want. Because huyo msaya atakuwa na represent interest za the civil society kwa hiyo committee. Hii committee ni muhimu. One of the things that we must do ni hizi committee tujipange tuone venye tutazitake over, so that tukuwe na committee iko friendly kwa issues na hiyo committee kwa wase wetu. So kwa organizing tufikirie venye tutatake over hizi roles. So waki representative, mnajua hapo sasa ndio vijana uleta norm, kila mtu anataka. Lakini hapo tukijipanga tunaweza sema nani na nani mtu represent, alafu sisi tunaambia zile issues tunataka wakilishe kwa hiyo committee. One of the issues hii act lazima kuna parts lazima zibadilishwe ndio organizing iweze kwa rahisi mtaani. Sasa tunaenda kwa hiyo committee.
Before these directors and now these committees, before now this act ilikuwa inawakaje now before the director amekuwa proposed into place and these committees?
Hakukuwa na regime. Ilikuwa wewe ukisha register group, nyinyi operate according to your constitution. Bora kila mwaka si mko unapeleka search na niniwa inastampiwa. So there was no hakuwa na regulation. So waliamua kuregulate. So hizi madirector nini, wewe bora ulikuwa upeleke uende kwa chief ama huduma center, mna register group na mna operate venye mnajisikia, so long as it is within constitution yenyu ya group na constitution ya country. Lakini sasa hii wameintroduce an act sasa kuregulate, na tukigo through the act tutaanza kudiscover how now you will be controlled. You will no longer be able to operate just freely. You can be controlled. And one of the ways niyo act part tumesema investigation. Jamani za kama itishe your books. So mwanze kukeep records bana. Mnaweza itishwa books. Na hiyo ni wanatulazimisha juu groups zingine si ukaa tunapiga story. Si ndio? Nasema ni aje hii group raundi tunafaa kufanya. Yaani tunapiga story tu na wase wana agree. Na so long as members wame agree si ni decision. Lakini saa hizi tuendelee tutaona venye hii act inatu affect. Kuna hiyo part ya social development committees, tukue makini hapa. There is established in every sub-county a committee to be known as the social development committee. Hii ni sub-county gani? Kasarani. Hii committee mko rada nayo. Na kama mko mumejiorganize, mnaweza take over hii committee. The sub-county social development officer, so hao ndio watakuwa kwa hiyo committee. SDO from the national government, 2 representatives from the county government, one of whom shall be the officer responsible for social development in the county. So hapa pia tunashindwa sasa kuna county SDO na kuna national government. Hiyo si ni duplication. Why should we have to doing the same thing? Hapo ni msana tafutiwa kazi. A representative of the deputy county commissioner responsible for the sub-county. 4 representatives of development partners and civil society organizations operating in the county who shall be nominated by the county coordinator of social development. 4 representatives wa civil society. Kwa hivyo kama county coordinator kupendi man, hawezi ingia kwa hii committee. 5 representatives of registered community groups operating in the sub-county who shall be nominated by the community groups and, where necessary or practicable, representatives of the national government ministries, departments, or agencies operating in the sub-county. So hapa tuko na slots 5. Naelewa. Tuko na 5 slots. Hapa tujipange. Siende huko kufight. Ati mimi lazima nikue. Mnaenda huko, mshaenda kwa meeting mmejipanga. Unajua kwa nini Finance Act ya Nairobi iliyekuwa kando? Finance bill. Si groups round walijipanga. Watu wakasoma hiyo bill wakaenda pale wamejipanga. Kila mahali walikuwa naambiwa manze hii haiwezi. So mkienda kwa group meeting kama hiyo, wanangoja mgombane ndio aseme sisi tumeamua tuchukue huyu na huyu. Mnaenda hapo tunasema sisi tushajipanga, list yetu ndio hii. Bora hiyo list kuna gender representation na nini kila mtu. So kwa meeting kama hiyo mnaenda tunafanya meeting prior. Kama meeting iko saa 3 tunakutana kama Wednesday. Tunasema hapa tuko na slots 5. Tunaweza jipangaje? Sema nani aingie hapo, nani aingie. Tukifika pale wanangoja mvurutano, wanasema vijana ni watu wa vurugu. Mnawapatia list. Si watu wale na meeting na memoranda, wanashindwa, kwani raundi kunaendaje? Kila mahali in all the 17 sub counties hiyo bili ilikataliwa. Kasa, Dandora, wapi, hiyo bili ilikataliwa. Hiyo ndo power ya organizing, ndio? So hizi 5 slots, hata hizi 4 slots, hizi za civil society, sisi tunaenda continue tuseme gava yezi tuchagulia representative. So tukiwin hiyo battle tutakuwa 9 slots na tutakuwa na majority. Si ndio? Juu pia kuna vitu tunaitaka gongos, government owned NGOs. So anakuambia ni aje, chief fungua NGO. Alafu hiyo NGO ya chief ndio inaingizwa kwa. So hapa inahitaji tujipange tupate majority kwa hiyo committee, that at least tuweze kwa decision making. The persons appointed, part 2, the persons appointed under subsection 1 shall be appointed by the county coordinator of social development, who shall, in making the appointment, ensure ethnic and regional balance and inclusion of persons with disability. Hapo mpaka wataangalia kabila. Wewe huwezi ingia hapa, hiyo sura ni mbaya sana. Hiyo sura ya Wajaruo tupendi hapa, ama wewe Mkikuyu mnatusumbua sana. Na hawajaongea mambo ya women hapo. So mambo ya gender pia haijakuwa included. The sub-county department responsible for social development shall provide the secretariat for the social development committee. Then kazi ya hiyo committee. The committee shall 1A act as a link between national government and community groups and other development partners. B, support community mobilization and the formation and the registration of community groups. C, support capacity building for its members and members of community groups. D, support mobilization of and awareness creation on social development programs and emerging issues in the community. Participate in setting priorities on the type of social development programs and the project to be implemented by community groups. Provide information on current and emerging social and community development needs. Make recommendations for community groups for material, capacity building and financial support. Support the director in monitoring, evaluation and research on community development programs at the sub-county level. Support dispute resolution and management of community groups. Support social impact assessment and social risk assessment processes at sub-county level and perform any other function as may be assigned by the director. Moneo community ni powerful to target sana. Business and affairs of social development committees shall be conducted in accordance with the first schedule, except as provided in the first schedule. Social development committees may regulate their own procedure. Remunerations of members of social development committees. Hapo pia kuna kuna opportunity ya kula pesa ya serikali hapo. The cabinet secretary shall, on the advice of the salaries and remuneration commission, determine the allowance payable by its members, payable to the members of social development committees for out-of-pocket expenses incurred in the performance of their functions. Hapo pia kuna kakitu. Tujipange, sawa? So registration of community groups. A group, part one, a group of persons may, if they so wish, apply in the prescribed form to the director for registration as a community group. 2, a group shall qualify for registration under this act if the members are adult. Hiyo pia tuko na shida nayo kwa sababu sisi tulianza kujiorganize kitambo hata kabla tufike 18. Hii inamaanisha hawa vijana wametoka shule hawezi form group. It's one of the part pia tunaenda nayo kotini because kuna vijana wanajiorganize under 18. Hapa inasema members lazima wakuwe adult, so any person under the age of 18 cannot organize. Members have a common purpose and the group comprises of one at least 10 persons, or in the case of special interest group at least 5 persons. Part 3, the director may require additional information from an applicant under this section or conduct an investigation as may be necessary before approving or rejecting the application. The director may prescribe fees in respect of applications under this subsection. So si tulikuwa tunajiuliza kama kila mtu anajaza form. Inamaanisha kuna wasa wanajaza form, group yao inakuwa registered. Kuna wengine anaambiwa you need to provide further information. Si tunaona hapo kuna ubaguzi. Juu sisi wote tumejaza form. Mbona waambie group ya kina Okaka, nyie leteni bank statement ama nyie leteni nini? Kila mtu anafaa kuwa na one regime ya registration. Kama ni kujaza form na kulipa 5k, kila mtu ajaze form na alipe 5k. Na kama wana require additional information, lazima hii act iweze kusema hii additional information ni gani. Mtu anaweza kuitisha marriage certificate bana. Si additional. So we want them to be very specific. What do they mean by additional information? Because hapo ndio wanafichanga tumambo. Unaweza itishwa vitu hata hamjaifikiria. Community groups constitution, an application under subsection 9, hiyo tumetoka, shall be accompanied by a community group constitution. So ukienda kuapply lazima kuna constitution. A rule or a purpose within a community group constitution that is inconsistent with the constitution, this act or any written law shall have no effect to the extent of the inconsistency. The information contained in the model community group constitution set out in the second schedule shall be sufficient for the purpose of this act, and a community group may adopt the model community group constitution for its own purpose. Kuna hiyo model constitution wameattach na hii nini yenye group inaweza adopt watumie. A community group which amends its constitution shall submit the amended constitution to the director within 1 month of the amendment. So ukibadilisha katiba, ambadilishi tu katiba alafu mnani, lazima msubmit kwa director. Special interest groups, the director may, upon application and payment of fees prescribed by the director, declare a community group to be special interest community group. A special interest group shall comprise of individuals who share common interest that, due to their unique nature of that interest, condition or need, has failed to raise large membership within the community. Hii tulikuwa tumeongelea rejection of application. Round hii wanaweza reject. The director may reject. Mnaweza apply na wa reject an application under subsection 9 if the applicant have not complied with the requirements of this act. B, the director has reasonable cause to believe that the applicant has among their objects the pursuit of an unlawful or immoral cause or purpose that is prejudicial to the peace, welfare or good order of the community, or is likely to carry out unlawful or immoral actions. Director anaweza decide niaje, mimi nimeangalia hii group. Sasa hapo ndo na targeting vijana. Nimeona hii group chairperson akona dread kama Okaka. Manze, unajua anaitanga dread rasta. Vijana wa rasta wako na nia mzuri kweli. Ama mjaitwa rasta. naona believing mtu yote akona dread anavuta bangi ni violent. So director anaweza angalia hivi akata registration tu because ya hiyo which is hiyo ni profiling mbaya sana, si ndio? The constitution of the group is inconsistent with the constitution or any other written law. The applicants have submitted false or misleading information. Sijui director atajuaje kama information mmesubmit ni false na yuko na nyinyi. The proposed name of the community group is identical or resembles the name of registered community groups, PBO, NGO, as to be likely to mislead the public as to the nature of or identity. So amwezi tafuta group zinafanana, amwezi register. Then kuna period within which application to be determined. The director shall. Unaona hizi kazi zote ni director. Nikwambia yule director atadeal na sisi vinoma sana. The director shall within 14 days of receiving an application under subsection 9 either register or refuse to register a community group. Where the director refuses to register a community group, the director shall notify the applicants of the refusal in writing, setting out the reasons for refusal. At least round hiyo atakuwa anatuandikia barua. Mlikuwa unaenda pale na kuambia hii haiwezi, si ndio? Hii haiwezi register hii. Wakati tulienda kuregister Dandora Justice Center walituambia haiwezi. Lakini tuliregister. Jusi tulienda tukaambia kama haiwezi tuambieni in writing. Hapo that is where they draw the line. And saizi ni must waambie in writing. Hawezi waambia haiwezi register. Where the director refuses to register a community group, the director shall a person aggrieved. Hii sasa ndio norma. A person aggrieved by the decision of the director may appeal to the cabinet secretary in writing. So director ikata kuregister, unatafuta Aisha Jumu. Hiyo ndo swali, tutamtoa wapi? Unamwandikia barua, unajua hata hiyo barua itafika. So hii part waza ni noma sana. Unaambia wewe enda uongee na cabinet secretary. Cabinet secretary mwenyewe hata ofisi yake hatujuangi kwa wapi. Hiyo ni noma sana. Renewal of registration. A community group registered under this act may, on the expiry of 2 years after its registration, apply to the director in the prescribed form and after paying the prescribed fee for the renewal of his registration and thereafter apply for renewal of his registration at the expiry of a period of 1 year. So raundi utakuwa unapeleka sat na ilikuwa ngaso 5. Una apply for renewal. Unajaza form, una apply. Na hiyo application shall be made at least 2 months before the date of renewal of registration. Na sasa hapa pia kuna shida. It shall be accompanied by a report of the community group activities of the 2 years immediately preceding the application. Its financial report. Lazima mwambie gava hii pesa yenu mnatoa wapi na ni ngapi, mpeleke report ya do. Unaelewa? And any other report the director may require. Na bado director anaweza itisha report zingine. The director shall within 14 days of receiving an application under subsection 1 either renew the registration or refuse to renew. So hiyo bado uko guaranteed ati usha registered after 2 years, bado mnarudi pale angalia seme hii sasa tumekataa. Hiyo pia ni noma sana. Where the director refuses to renew the registration of a community group, the director shall notify the applicants of the refusal in writing, setting out the reasons for refusal. Where the director is satisfied with that the applicant qualify for the renewal of registration, shall approve the application and renew the community group certificate of registration. Na hapa hawajatuambia wakikataa, najua tu si mtindo ni ile ile, unatafutana na nani? Aisha Jumwa. So anzeni kutafuta namba za huyo mama, kutaenda kuchemka hapa mbele. Usipatikane off guard. Cancellation of registration. The director may cancel the registration of a group. Bado ni hiyo director tu. If the committee groups fail to comply with this act. In fact, group zetu zote zinafaa kuwa zimekanseliwa by now. Sijui kama kuna mtu amecomply. Hata sisi bado. B, the members of the committee group fail to comply with the committee group constitution. Sijui atajuaje. Nambia wewe ufuati constitution, tumecancel hiyo registration. The committee groups fail to submit information required under the act. Kwa hivyo mkikataa kutuma financial report na nini, the group inaweza kuwa cancelled. The committee group was fraudulently registered. Sijui sasa hii hii hata mimi sijaelewa bado, hata mimi najaribu kupambana nayo, because hiyo inamaanisha badala washike hao wako na fraud kwa ofisi yao, wanakuja kucancel. Na uje lack of information, unaweza enda kwa nini kuregister group, waambiwe ni tao 6 na bailo ni tao 5, si ndio? Na wewe ujui inakuanga tao 5. Then wakuja wagundue, watacancel registration yako, badala watafute ule jamaa alikula ile tao ya juu. So wanapasi hiyo mzigo. Sasa sisi itabidi tu kama EACC ndio tusiangukie hapo kwa fraud. Before the director cancel the registration of a community group, the director shall give the office bearer of the community group at least 14 days notice of the intention to cancel the group registration. At least wanapeana notice ya 14 days. Then give the office bearers and members of the community group the opportunity to make representation to the director as to why the group's registration should not be cancelled. So director atawasummon, hawapati opportunity ya kwenda kumuongelesha vizuri on why your group should not be cancelled. Na mnajua what this means. Mkubwa si unajua tu hii group yetu hata tunanga ubaya. Mko na nini? Unajua mkubwa, hatujatembea vibaya, tuko na tuko na kitu hapa mkubwa. Tafadhali usicancel certificate. Mkubwa atasikia fit. Voluntary dissolution. A community group may dissolve itself voluntarily if the members pass a resolution for voluntary dissolution in accordance with the community group's constitution. Group that passes a resolution for voluntary dissolution shall notify the director in writing. Hata mkitaka kukosana, kuvunja group, lazima director aambiwe. So nyinyi mnavunjanga group, mnaenda tu, shauri yenu. A notification under subsection 2 shall be signed by at least 2/3 of the members and accompanied by group certificate of registration, copy of minutes and the resolution of the minutes recommending the dissolution of the community group, stating 1. The community group intention to voluntarily dissolve. 2. The reason for resolution to voluntarily dissolve. 3. A date at least 2 months after the date of the notice on which the dissolution is intended to take effect. So mkishaandika hiyo barua, on receiving hiyo barua lazima kuwe na minutes na iwamuambie director kwa nini, mbona mmekosana, mbona mnataka kudissolve. On receiving the notice, the director shall confirm whether or not the resolution has been made in accordance with the group's constitution. B. Where the notice is in order, cancel the certificate of registration of the community group. C. Amend the register to indicate that the group has been dissolved. D. Notify the community group in writing of its dissolution and the effective date of the dissolution. So ni director ataambia ile siku mna dissolve. So nyinyi lazima mstick together mpaka director aseme. Stick together guys, msidissolve to you. Hata kama mpendani, stick together man. Director tawashow. The director shall, before acting in accordance with subsection 4, ensure that the assets of the community group have been properly distributed and any other outstanding claims have been settled in accordance with the community group's constitution. And the director may impose such condition as may be necessary for the protection of the welfare of the members of the group or the community. So mkiwa na mali, director ana make sure your mali imekuwa distributed ndio group dissolve. Msidistribute hiyo mali bila director kujua. Si kuna maybe kuna laptop, kuna meza. Lazima mwambie director venye mna distribute hizo vitu. Unasikia chairman anachukua meza anaweka kwake, laptop. Sina shida na chairman bado poleni. Lakini mnatusumbua. A community group shall be deemed to have dissolved voluntarily if the community group fails to renew its registration for a period of 4 years. Must renew registration in 4 years, you are officially dissolved. Hiyo hata hakuna maneno. Sawa? Miaka ngapi? Kama mpelekangi nini, if you don't apply after 4 years, nyinyi mme dissolve. Hii si afadhali tungoje tu 4 years than kuwa kama report na nini. Merger. Sasa groups zinaweza merge. A community group may, in accordance with the constitution, pass a resolution to merge with another community group. A community group shall not merge with another community group unless at least 3/4 of all the members of each of the community groups agree to the merger. Mnasikia wenye viti. Si nyinyi mtadecide. 3/4 of all the members. The merger of a community group shall not take effect unless the group has settled or made arrangement to settle its debts and its creditors have acknowledged settlements of their dues or their arrangements to settle their dues. Kama mko na deni lazima mlipe kwanza, na wenye mko na deni wa confirm ya kwamba mmelipa ndio mmerge. The claims of the members of the community group who have not agreed to have the merger and have exercised the option to leave the group have been fully met or otherwise satisfied. Wala watu wataki kumerge, lazima wape opportunity wa leave the group ndio mweze kumerge. Information of the proposed merger and details of the settlement of claims of members and creditors have been submitted to the director, and the community group proposing to merge have surrendered their certificate of registration to the director. Where a community groups merge, they shall cease to exist as independent community groups, and their assets and liabilities shall be transferred to the merged groups. A resolution passed by the community group under subsection 1 shall be sufficient to vest the assets held or liabilities incurred by or on behalf of the community groups on the members of the merged community group. The group may change its name, constitution by issuing a notice to the change of name or constitution to the director. A notice of change of community group constitution shall be accompanied by new community group constitution. Director to approve merger. The director shall, save for just cause, approve the merger of a community groups when they have complied. The director shall, on approval of the merger, enter into the register the name, relevant details of the new group, amend the register, cancel the certificate of the registration of the community groups that have merged. So mna cancel certificate, mnapoa ingine mpya. Kuna amalgamation. 2 or more groups may, in accordance with their constitution, pass resolution to amalgamate. Amalgamation ni ile, so mnaweza decide kuform maybe Kasarani groups whatever, lakini kila group bado ita retain certificate. Ile maja mkimerge, kila group mkimerge groups kadhaa, hizo certificates zinakansoliwa, lakini bado mna retain your certificate. Inaitwa amalgamation. So each group, community group that resolve to amalgamate with another shall apply to the director in the prescribed form. The application shall be accompanied by a certificate of registration of the groups that intend to amalgamate. Where the director has approved the amalgamation of community group, the director shall issue to the resulting community-based organization with a certificate of registration. The director shall enter kawaida the relevant details for the resulting community-based organization, amend the register. Hapa sasa wanasema wana cancel na kwa ile introduction walisema groups zina retain certificates. Unaona hiyo inconsistency. Kiangalia hii cancel the certificate of registration of the amalgamating community groups. Hii ni anomaly noma sana. Because kwa introduction pale walisema you retain your certificate. So EPA iko inconsistent with their own act. The director may make changes in register. The director may, upon reasonable notice given by a community group, make changes or correction relating to the entry in the register with respect to the community group. A notice issued under this section shall be accompanied by a resolution passed by a majority of the members group approving the proposed changes and list of members who are present at the meeting at which the resolution was passed. Up to there, sijui kama kuna swali ama comment. What do you think about registration ya groups?
Amalgamation sijui kitu kama hiyo. Is it different with the network? Ama CBOs wanaweza form a network ambayo watakuwa wanaongea vitu kwa umoja. Kitu kingine nauliza, umesema sijui 2023 July hii nini inafaa kuwa ina work. Sasa ni kumaanisha hizo organs already ziko already, hata ni sisi hatuna hiyo information tuweze kufikia hapo tufanye vile hiyo act inasema, ama bado hazijawekwa, ni bado ziko kwa act peke yake? Asante.
Thank you. Kujibu swali ya kwanza, network sini bring wase pamoja. Yeye iko sawa, lakini mkiamua kuregister mnaweza register under hiyo amalgamation. So network ina fall hapo kwa amalgamation. Na hii act gava wenyewe wako so much behind schedule because walikuwa nafaa kutrain au ma SDO, nimwambia only like 10% ndio wametrainiwa because they are like 555, they have trained 50. Yes, ni 10%. So hata wako behind schedule. Na tulijaribu kureason out na wao, they are not willing to discuss. So mkae tu rada. Mkienda kwa SDO muulizeni hiyo act kama imekuwa implemented, kama committee shaformiwa. Be part of that process. Mkae rada sana, msistukie tu kuna committee, kuna director hata sijui kama ashaappointiwa, haja appointiwa bado. Kuna swali lingine? Comment?
Yeah, community groups.
Yeah.
Does it touch on cultural groups to community?
Hiyo cultural group iko wapi?
Cultural groups Cultural groups ni hizi zinadeal na arts.
Zilikuwa community.
Zo community kwa hivyo inahitaji pia hizo.
Yeah, ita depend. Cultural group ina register under what? Hakunanga nini ya culture.
Wanga Ministry of Culture. So now Ministry of Culture, then is communities zina register under kwa SDO. Registrations are wanga different.
To do with SDO iko chini ya hii act. So zote ziko hapa.
Okay.
Sawa.
Poa.
Mwingine? Sijasikia sauti ya women. Women group, nyinyi ndio mko affected na hata muongei. Mko sawa? Table banking. Hizo pesa lazima gava ijue mko mmeraise pesa ngapi na mmezitumiaje.